In this video we will summarize one of the films entitled Shark: The Beginning, release on 2021. Spoiler ahead, watch out, and take care. The film begins by showing a young man named Do-Yun, who is the youngest professional MMA fighter, who is 18 years old, on his way home. He got a call from her mother who told him that her little sister had arrived home. Arriving at Do-Yun's house, he intends to give a gift to his sister, but the atmosphere looks a little strange. The strangeness became clearer when Do-Yun saw the blood on his hands after holding the refrigerator. Do-Yun panicked immediately to find out the whereabouts of his mother and sister. Not long after, Do-Yun saw his sister, who was lying covered in blood. Do-Yun, who didn't expect it to happen, was suddenly attacked by a robber from behind. But because Do-Yun is a fighter, he can easily turn things around. It turned out that the robber was not alone. Some of his friends came and started attacking Do-Yun. Even one of them managed to stab Do-Yun with a knife. But easily Do-Yun can still finish off the robbers. Sin moves to a school which shows a group of students watching the news that Do-Yun is imprisoned for killing 3 robbers at his house. This group of students is the most feared in the class. When they are angry, no one seems to dare to fight them. There is also a geeky student named Woo-Sol who is focused on doing his job. Not long after, the teacher came with a new student. His name is Sok-chan. Sok-chan is a boxing athlete who often gets gold medals. Hearing this achievement, all the children in the class looked amazed and applauded. But not with Woo-Sol. He remembers Sok-chan very well, because in middle school they went to the same school, and it turned out that when he was in middle school, Sok-chan was the one who always bullied Woo-Sol. Entering recess, Sok-chan beat up the most feared group of students in the class. After that, he started to approach Woo-Sol and bullied him. Tired of being bullied, Woo-Sol threatens to stab Sok-chan with a pen. But instead of being afraid, Sok-chan just pointed the pen at his eyes and told Woo-Sol to do it. And sure enough, Woo-Sol stabbed the pen until it hurt Sok-chan's eyes. The bully fell down and screamed in pain. A few days after the incident, Woo-Sol was seen in court and sentenced to 3 years in prison for being charged with attempted murder and causing permanent injury to Sok-chan's eye. By boarding the bus, Woo-Sol is taken to a juvenile prison along with other inmates. And it's a coincidence that he's sitting there with Do-Yun, who has been the talk of the town for the past few days. Arriving at the prison, they all changed their clothes into prison clothes. One of the prisoners named Yun Ming began to invite Woo-Sol to chat so that they eventually became friends. The next day the seniors are seen playing soccer. Woo-Sol and Yun Ming are told that they are divided into several groups who are in power in the prison. The first group was chaired by Lee Won. Then the second group was chaired by Han Sung. And the last group was chaired by Sang Yub. But uniquely, none of these groups dared to disturb Do-Yun, even though Do-Yun was a new prisoner at the prison. Everyone respects him because they already know the background of Do-Yun, who is an MMA athlete. Well, in the middle of the soccer game, Woo-Sol accidentally kicked Lee Won's genitals, which instantly made Lee Won fall down. Because of that incident, Woo-Sol was brought by Lee Won's group to be punished. Woo-Sol sees Do-Yun trying to escape and tries to run away. He runs to Do-Yun and asks to be saved. Lee Won, who didn't accept it without thinking, immediately attacked Do-Yun. But the funny thing is, just by throwing one punch right at Lee Won's face, Lee Won immediately fell and passed out. The next day, Sok-chan suddenly meets Woo-Sol in prison and says that now he has stopped boxing because he is blind in one eye. Therefore he is very angry with Woo-Sol and intends to take revenge when Woo-Sol gets out of prison later. One day Woo-Sol accidentally sees Do-Yun, who is practicing in the field. He goes to see him to thank him for helping him the other day. Not only that, Woo-Sol then follows Do-Yun running around the field with the aim that he wants to be trained by Do-Yun. While running, Woo-Sol tells the sad story he has experienced so far. Well, hearing that, Do-Yun finally feels sorry and will train Woo-Sol. Long story short, the next day, Do-Yun met the warden, who happened to be very familiar with him. There Do-Yun asked the chief warden a request to move Woo-Sol to a cell with him. Then after being moved to Do-Yun's room, now Woo-Sol finally starts practicing with Do-Yun. Day after day passed. Do-Yun continued to train him from push-ups to boxing training. Do-Yun also taught him how to kick and various other exercises, including how to lock up opponents. Woo-Sol, who practices every day, is now getting more proficient, and he seems to have gotten used to his practice. His togetherness with Do-Yun is also getting closer. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Sok-chan was seen being scolded by the driver of the car, which immediately made Sok-chan angry and immediately beat the driver of the car. From a distance, the gangster boss saw the incident. The gangster boss approaches Sok-chan and gives him an offer to join his gang. At first Sok Chan refused, but the gangster boss bet that if he was able to beat Sok Chan would have to join his gang. With one hit Sok Chan was able to be defeated so that he inevitably had to join the gang. One day, Wu Sol talks with Hyung Ming and Hyung Ming informs that prisoners will be transferred to adult prisons when they are over 23 years old. Then while practicing with Du Yun, Wu Sol remembers what Hyung Ming said earlier, and he feels sad because Du Yun will soon be moving to an adult prison. Not long after, Wu Sol saw Hyung Ming who was forced by Li Won's men and beat him. Wu Sol who followed them immediately helped Hyung Ming. With one punch Wu Sol was able to overthrow Li Won's men to make them got scared and left from there. Li Won's men who lost immediately reported it to their boss and Li Won told them to bring Wu Sol to his headquarters. Arriving there, Wu Sol apologized for his mistake the other day. Li Won, who didn't accept it, immediately threw a punch at Wu Sol, but the punch was avoided and Wu Sol gave Li Won a backlash. Everyone was shocked to see it. The fight was unavoidable. Wu Sol who was fighting for the first time couldn't put up a balanced fight. The two of them continued to fight until Wu Sol was overwhelmed and hit so that he fell to the floor. Then Wu Sol got back up and gave Li Won a punch until he fell to the ground. The angry Wu Sol continues to beat Li Won until he is finally stopped by Du Yun. Li Won, who was defeated by Wu Sol, is now the laughing stock of Han Sung, who has been enjoying their fight ever since. Long story short, Wu Sol is now used to fighting and in his last training, he was almost able to hit Du Yun. After that, finally Du Yun was picked up by the guards to be transferred to an adult prison. A few weeks passed, suddenly Han Sung came to Wu Sol and challenged him to a fight. Inevitably Wu Sol also accepted the challenge. The next day, Sok Chan returns to Wu Sol in prison, but now Wu Sol doesn't seem afraid anymore. He even dares to look Sok Chan in the eyes. Sok Chan again threatens Wu Sol who will soon be out of prison. After meeting with Sok Chan he then went to fight with Han Sung. Han Sung was seen attacking first. When Han Sung feels he has won, Wu Sol again stood up with the remaining strength. Han Sung again tried to kick him but this time Wu Sol was able to hold him and pushed Han Sung down. They both fight again and this time Wu Sol manages to lock up Han Sung. Just as Han Sung was about to lose, the guard suddenly came to stop them. The next day Wu Sol with the leader of his group came to Li Won and Han Sung to make peace. They also accepted the peace. And finally they were all friends. Day after day passed and now finally Wu Sol's day of freedom has arrived. Before leaving, he goes to the field and recalls his memories of being with Du Yun. When he got out of prison, it turned out that Sok Chan was waiting for him. Sok Chan had been waiting for this day for a long time. Without further ado they immediately started a fight. In the midst of the fight, Wu Sol looks overwhelmed and almost lost by Sok Chan, but he remembers that if he loses this battle, his life will not change and he will always be bullied by people like Sok Chan. Wu Sol immediately got up and started beating again until finally Sok Chan admitted defeat. The film closes by showing Wu Sol meeting Du Yun and they both seem to be smiling happily. Thank you for those of you who have watched to the end. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. See you in the next video.